Good morning everybody, welcome back. It's a lovely warm day in June, middle of June here, and the UK is expecting a bit of a heat wave. Now I'm away for a little bit of time after this, so I thought it was good to get out and do something. Actually something a little bit different, so this is going to be an old school vlog. Talking in the camera, talking in the helmet, talk to camera, out for a ride, have a chat, that kind of thing. And I thought what would be good to talk about today, you know, to give me something to talk about, it'd be good to talk maybe about staying safe on motorcycles, because that's important. And we all know just how bad the statistics are and how dangerous this hobby, sport, mode of transport can be. So yeah, how do I go about staying safe? How am I still going? So a little bit about my background then. I guess I've been riding now for about 12 years, 12 or 13 years. I started to ride just around 29, 30 years old, something like that. And I was at the age where as soon as you passed your test, because I was over 28 or whatever it was, I didn't have to deal with the restricted bikes, A1s, A2s, any of that stuff. I could get anything I liked. So my journey was, I had a 125, what's it called, Honda Varadero, really big thing. They did either a 125 or a 1000cc version of it, really strange. I had a bit of an obsession actually about, okay, coming back to safety, about wanting to be on a bigger bike, you know, because I felt it was safer, more road presence, all that sort of thing. I've been driving since I was 17. So yeah, I got this Varadero 125, rode it around London a little bit. There's a funny story I'll tell you another day about the day I picked it up. But anyway, for purposes of today, yeah, picked up this Varadero 125, having done my CBT. Rode it around London for, I don't know, 4 weeks, something like that. And then when I did direct access and passed my my full test within about a week, I think it takes 5 days past it, I was lucky enough to pass it all on first attempt, so that was pretty good. So that's my background. I started a bit older, went straight to big bikes, and it kind of brings me on to my first point really. When I passed my test, my good friend Laurie, who's been in the background of a video or two, he was one of the people that kind of influenced me to kind of get into motorcycling. And he took me to pick up my first bike, and after I passed my test, I think within a couple of weeks, we went off on a trip down to the Alps. So I bought myself my SV650. I think it was a 2006 plate. So yeah, that was my first kind of big bike after the Varadero. I really liked it. It wasn't that comfortable for those sort of long trips, a bit tricky to get luggage on, but it was cool, enjoyed it. Anyway, I was hanging around with Laurie a lot, and that brings me to my first of these 8 tips, which is, yeah, take an interest in advanced motorcycle training. Just because you've passed your test doesn't mean you know it all. Actually, that's just the beginning. That's getting on the road. And Laurie had spent the preceding kind of couple of years when I'd first worked with him doing the AIM, Advanced Institute of Motorcycling, and that was a sort of Sunday ride out with you know, trained riders and ex-police riders, where they really talk you through not just how to ride safely, but how to ride safely fast. An awful lot around road positioning. Now, a couple of years later, I had a bit of time on my hands, and I went on to start a lot of the AIM training. And I really enjoyed it actually. I found it really sociable, really liked the routes they took me on. I thought everybody was really kind of friendly. Unfortunately, I ended up sort of going backpacking for a few months midway through the course. So I haven't actually finished. I'm not actually advanced or not AAM certified, but what I've taken away from riding with Laurie, who was always good enough to be in my ear, giving me some pointers on road presence, road positioning, road safety, just good solid motorcycle riding techniques to stay safe and enjoy the ride, make the most of the roads, along with the time I spent with AIM. Yeah, I think it's put me in a really good place. And I also around that did the Bike Safe. Now Bike Safe is a 1-day course, I think they still do in the UK. We turn up, I don't think it's free, I think it's about 20 quid or something, but you get a lunch there. And again, they just talk you through the basics of staying safe, what you should think about beyond the physics and the technique of riding a bike. So, depending on what you have in your country, obviously here it's the Advanced Institute of Motorcyclist. Find the time, find the energy, take an interest in learning more, learning about being better, and to treat it like a hobby. That's what hobbies are. Hobbies are something you spend time, working on to do things better. Don't just, rest on it. So yeah, tip 1, advanced training, take it further. Okay, so my second tip for staying safe on a motorcycle is, be aware of your mental state at any one time. So, as a rule of thumb, don't go on a motorcycle if you're angry. Don't go on a motorcycle if you're sad or distracted. It's a place where you need to have your wits about you. You really need to know what you're doing out here and be focused on the road. Don't get on a motorcycle late. Just if you're traveling somewhere on a motorcycle, give yourselves 5 or 10 minutes extra. It's always faffing around, getting the gloves on, getting the thing unlocked and locked at the other end. Bad weather slows you down. This is not a machine that I think you want to be on if you're in a real hurry. Give yourself time, allow yourself to focus on where you're going, what's happening around you, and staying safe. Okay, tip 3, following on from that, is really about riding within your limits. So that doesn't mean you can't go out and enjoy the power of the motorcycle, enjoy the shape of the roads, and have a good time. But think about riding at kind of 7/10, 8/10 of your ability. Give yourself that leeway. Don't push yourself to the limit. If you want to go and have a track day and learn how to, be a stronger rider, get quicker, get faster, but whatever you believe your ability is, do not push it. Do not go up to it when you're out on the road, because you can only get caught out once on a motorbike, whether it be that that post there, that car there. If you go too wide or go over the side of something, that's probably your one and only chance. So just know your limits, ride within them, and enjoy that. It doesn't mean you're not going to be having a great time. Okay, the next tip: beware of technology. So it's great to have sat nav, it's great to have all the cameras, it's great to have your music on, all those sorts of things. However, use them as you can, as you need to, without them being a distraction. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll see I often have the sat nav on the phone. What you're probably not aware of is I generally have the audio instructions in my ear as well, because if you can absolutely avoid having the screen on, do just rely on the audio prompts. Don't be looking at a screen. If you're going to have music on, don't have it so loud that you can't hear anything that's going on. I mean, I wear earplugs to protect my ears, and I have music on, but I always make sure it's at a level where I can hear, car horns, I can hear engines around me and other vehicles. So don't let technology distract you from being as focused as you can be, entirely focused on your riding and your riding safety. Okay, next tip. I think that's 4, maybe 5. Gear. Always wear safety gear as much as you can. Now, it's a level of personal choice and safety. Write it down by the riding shirt, which I think is only A rated, with some CE2 armour in it. And I feel happy. I'm not going to be on the motorway for a long time. The roads are dry. It's a pretty leisurely ride. But consider safety gear, against any ride you're going on. I'm an absolute believer that even if, and obviously in the UK here we have to wear helmets, but even if I lived somewhere where you didn't have to wear a helmet, I would always wear a helmet and gloves every single ride, even to the shops. Because the two things that are going to slap the ground first, if you go flying over the handlebars, are going to be your face and your hands. So gloves on, decent gloves, and some sort of lid that protects your chin. Beyond that, obviously judge it on the climate, judge it on the type of roads you're going on, but all the gear all the time if you can, because it can save your life. It really can. Okay, point number 6 is look after your bike, let it look after you. At the end of the day, your tyres and your brakes are the only things there to keep you in contact with the ground and help you stop if you need to. So, worship your bike, love it, clean it regularly. When you clean it regularly, you will spot the bolts that have come loose or something that doesn't quite look right. Lube the chain. Make sure you give yourself every chance of using especially if you've got a modern bike with ABS and all those sorts of things. You've already got so many assists there. Just make sure everything's working, everything's in good order, the bolts are tight, the chain's oiled. Look after it and it'll look after you. And so number 7, I might get called out for this one maybe, looking at what I'm wearing now, but I will talk it through a little bit. It's about being visible. Now, I remember looking through, it might have been some of the artefacts I was given by the Advanced Institute of Motorcycling when I was doing that, but there's an amazing picture where in sort of dappled sunlight between the trees, there was a rider coming over a bridge, and he was in sort of black clothes and sort of typical riding gear. And you had to stare at this picture for, it was a freeze frame. You had to stare at this picture for probably 4 or 5 seconds before you could see that still frame image of that motorcyclist just riding down a lane, dressed normally, in bright and sunny day, but just like this road we're on now, sort of dappled sunlight. Now, I think there's a level of visibility that you have absolute control over, and there's other things you can do. So, in honesty, I could be called out now. Maybe I should be in a high vis, but I have got a range of colours on. And the other small things I've done, which you might or might not be able to see, I have black reflective panels attached to all of my helmets, because all my helmets are black with another colour. My panniers have black reflective dots, so you can't see them. They don't spoil the look of the bike. But if there is if you're travelling towards a car in low light, their headlights will just flash and pick up these extra bits in the helmet. Make yourself big, make yourself visible. Again, I've got these hand guards here. My intention is to put some reflective tape on those as well. And when it's poor weather, my waterproof jacket is a fluorescent jacket. So if I'm at the point where I'm riding around in poor weather, then again, I've got a bright yellow high-vis jacket that I wear. So do be visible. Give the drivers, give the pedestrians a chance to see you, not just hear you, in all weathers, all conditions. Make yourself seen. Okay, lastly, I think this is the last one, number 8. It's about sort of specialising. Now, the specialism I'm going to talk about here is urban riding. But if you're somebody who does an urban ride, specialise in the country roads that you're on or the long A roads that you ride. Think about what's the most dangerous thing that happens in your day-to-day rides, and learn to think about that first. Think about it often. Now, when I used to live in London, I used to live in North London in Kilburn. I used to commute all the way down to South London in Streatham. So right the way through central London, down Park Lane and across through kind of Vauxhall. I used to do that on my MT10 4 days a week. And that is a really interesting ride. Not a lot of fun, to be honest, especially now. I think it's all 20 mile an hour now. But when I used to do it, I think, like I say, parts of Park Lane were actually 40 mile an hour. Other bits were 20 mile an hour. So the reason I mention that is I've got an awful lot of experience. I probably did that for 2 years, that cross London ride on a big, the MT10 is a 1000cc. It's a big heavy bike, a nice low centre of gravity. Actually, it was quite nice, quite sort of talky, so you could trundle along quite slowly when you needed to in traffic and whatnot. But anyway, the reason I mention it is the amount of people that ultimately kind of came out of nowhere, right? Pedestrians, cyclists, cars, in that type of urban environment. You've got so many risks. So start to educate yourself on the things that you can do. You're in control of your speed. You are in control of being seen. You are in control of what you can see, right? So by that I mean, take advantage of your height. Get your head up. Look above other vehicles. You're often on a motorcycle. If you sit up, you are above cars, so you can see above the car line with a lot of cars, not 4x4s, but a lot of cars. You see above them. To do that, don't have that opportunity in a car. Look around, see if there's any reflective surfaces, shop windows or anything where you might be able to see into the pathway where you're about to ride along, so that you can see if somebody's about to step out between a car. Look across the inside of corners. If you're going around a bend and there's parked cars, you might not be able to see if you look straight ahead, but you might be able to glance through the spaces and see what's down the road. So start to think about the techniques that make your life easier where you ride the most and what works for you. Look, and remember, this isn't just about keeping you safe. Oh, Christ. Looks like that. There we go. Stopping distances. There we go. There's another one. So yeah, so this isn't just about keeping you safe. This is about keeping the people around you safe, because that's going to spoil your day if you bump someone. And again, if you're on a country road on a single lane, I mean, it doesn't apply there. You're on a single lane, you need to be able to stop within half of your own stopping distance. Because if you're on a single lane path, you come around the corner and someone's there, you know, you need to be able to stop in half your normal stopping distance. So anyway, I really hope that you found that video useful. And if you do like it, please leave me a comment and subscribe, obviously. But let me know if you like these sort of videos. If there's any of these sort of points I've made that you'd like me to talk about more in a future video. I probably will talk about how I started riding in future, because there's a couple of interesting kind of stories there. Yeah, I think that'll do. Have a great day, and look forward to seeing you next time.